Varmt välkomna till detta webbinariet som heter Effektivisera din verksamhet genom molnbaserad prenumerationshantering. Det vi kommer visa idag är en tilläggslösning till Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Och det här tillägget det kallas Subscription Billing Suite. Vad det kan erbjuda är funktionalitet och stöd för fakturering av prenumerationer i Business Central. Det är ett tillägg som är utvecklat av våra partners på Binary Stream och det är ett tillägg som vi kan erbjuda våra kunder i våra Business Central-lösningar. Men kort innan vi bara visar presentationen så tänkte jag att vi ska göra en liten presentation av oss själva först som kommer att vara moderatorer på detta webbinar. Det är dels jag, mitt namn är Sebastian Waldberg, jag arbetar som applikationskonsult här på Sopra Steria i Sverige och jag har jobbat på Sopra sedan 2020. Och mitt fokusområde är med Microsoft Dynamics olika affärssystem och primärt då det molnbaserade Business Central som vi kommer att titta på idag. Och med mig har min kollega Eva. Eva, vill du presentera dig själv?
Ja, tack Sebastian. Mitt namn är Eva Youssef och jag jobbar också som applikationskonsult inom ERP på Sopra Steria i Sverige. Jag har jobbat med både NAV och Business Central inom olika branscher. Men som Sebastian var inne på lite tidigare så kommer vi att under det här webbinariet fokusera på Business Central.
Ja, toppen. Men då så, kort innan vi startar själva presentationen så tänkte vi bara nämna att det är en förinspelad video tillsammans med oss och våra partners då, Binary Stream. Och videon kommer vara på engelska och det är helt enkelt för att Binary Stream då, det är ett kanadensiskt företag och de håller till i Vancouver, Kanada. Men med de orden så ska vi inte hålla det på hals längre utan jag tycker att vi kör igång presentationen.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We're very happy to be joining Sopra Steria today for a presentation on Subscription Billing Suite for Dynamics 365 Business Central. This is an IP that's been around for 15 years. Of course, more recently, it has been brought onto the 365 BC. And we really think of it as a comprehensive but not complicated solution to managing any advanced billing options. It doesn't have to be recurring. It can be recurring or non-recurring. And we're very excited to be showing it to you. To start us off, we have Eva from Sopra Steria who will be giving a quick intro here.
So, a quick backstory. Sopra Steria was originally two different companies, Sopra and Steria, both founded in the 60s. In 2014, the two companies were merged into one and were renamed Sopra Steria. The Swedish branch of Sopra Steria was originally a company called Kentor, but in 2017 it became a part of the Sopra Steria group, and in 2018 Kentor renamed to Sopra Steria Sweden. So today, the Sopra Steria group has more than 46,000 employees in 30 countries, and within Scandinavia we have around 2,500 employees. With that being said, we have a lot of knowledge and experience from many different industries.
Now, for those of you who may not know, Sopra Steria is a European leader in consulting, digital service and software development. We have a passion for people and technology, and we help our customers meet their challenges through digital transformation. We offer both business know-hows and high-end technical solutions. And with our services, we help our customers throughout the transformation process with strategy and innovation, and also with supporting digital operations. Now, that's a quick summary of us and Sopra. If you are interested in reading more about us and our services, you can do so by visiting our website. Now, Khaled, would you like to continue?
Sure thing. Thanks so much, Sebastian, and thank you, Eva, for that quick intro. And I will mention if there are any questions that anyone has during the presentation, you can either leave them to us or at the end of the slides, you'll see a couple of contact information emails that you can connect with us through. We'd be happy to answer any further questions that you have, or if you would like a more customized demo of the solution, we'd be very happy to supply that. We will also have a few pieces of handouts after the presentation available to you. They will explain the products in more depth and the benefits of moving to a subscription-based model. Just a quick intro about Binary Stream. We've been in the Microsoft Dynamics space for over 20 years, and we cover a wide range of industries, including manufacturing, financial services, telecom, healthcare, real estate, and hospitality. And our solutions are all published on App Stores and have been designated as Microsoft Preferred Solutions. We cover both Dynamics 365 Business Central and Dynamics 365 Finance, but of course today we're talking about BC. We're a current Inner Circle member for business applications, and we have been a member of the President's Club for 7 years. We are also this year's Partner of the Year finalist for Dynamics 365 Business Central. We're also very proud to say that we're a global provider to over 2,000 customers across more than 25 countries, and we always retain a 97% customer satisfaction score. That's something that's really important to us and important for us that you know that, because we want to make sure that our customers are satisfied and we're enabling their success along with our success, and that's something that we're happy to say that we share that value with Sopra Steria, so it's great for both of us. Intro about Subscription Billing Suite, the star of the hour, really. So like I mentioned at the very top, it's a comprehensive suite of solutions covering every step of the subscription billing cycle. What do we mean by that? It really does allow you to blend the front office and the back office and eliminate any barriers that you may have between the billing side and the accounting and revenue recognition side. Of course, with compliance standards like IFRS 15 or ASC 606 if you are in the United States, there is a bit of hassle with recognizing your revenue, deferring revenues and expenses, and really aligning your new systems to the way that you have to work today. So with our solution, we take out a lot of that hassle. We enable your audit process to be much, much easier. Your end of year processes are also much easier. And we also accommodate a highly flexible range of pricing and billing structures. And that includes usage-based, tiered, milestones, and many, many more. So we see this applied to many industries, and that's really the strength of Subscription Billing Suite. It allows you to unlock new revenue models that were not even possible for you with previous solutions. And that's really because older solutions are not built to keep up with the fast changing world that we are in today, where companies are looking at hybrid billing models. Companies are trying to react to customer demands really quickly and need that insights and really actionable insights to be able to forecast and anticipate change before it happens. This is a quick diagram that I think really shows the value of Subscription Billing Suite being directly embedded in D365 BC very, very well. I mentioned at the beginning of the intro of SBS that it blends the front office and back office and eliminates those barriers. That's really what we're talking about here. If you have your sales team working out of D365 CE, working out of Commerce, working out of Salesforce, anything like that, those external sources can come directly into SBS, into the contract setup, for you to manage your contracts and enhance the abilities that Dynamics 365 BC does well already, and expand on them with elements like the recurring invoicing management, having that transaction posting with RevRec done really properly through Subscription Billing Suite, and deferring all of the schedules that do need to be deferred so you don't have to do any future period posting or anything like that. And of course, that way you're able to keep your team that needs to stay in D365 CE or Commerce or Salesforce in their own solutions, while keeping your accounting team in BC, not having to create silos between the two data points, but you're still creating that connection, enabling each team to be empowered in their own environment and their own ecosystem. We really believe in that. We try to make sure that our solution accommodates any different persona that would be using the product. So we have a very close touch on the pulse of our customers. Our team is always happy to talk. We have a 24/7 support team. And our development team is over 80 people. So we're always enhancing the products, always getting feedback from the customers. Even with Subscription Billing Suite being a more mature product, I mentioned the IP has been around for 15 years. We're always getting new ideas from our customers that are really great. And the ones that are coming in to all of the customers. So we always have those enhancements on our cloud solutions. A very, very quick breakdown. SBS is a suite. It contains 3 modules: advanced revenue and expense deferrals, which of course has to do with deferring your revenue or expenses. You can do that either on a straight line or event-based basis. It also enables you to have reporting capabilities like deferral balance, waterfall, and declining balances. Advanced recurring contract billing is really everything that has to do with the recurring billing management and those robust pricing models that you might require. Even something like flat billing, which you can have a flat charge over a monthly, daily, weekly, annual basis. We really have a lot of flexibility with the periods and periodicity of billing. Tiered pricing, pricing increases and decreases within your contract, and also the forecasting ability into future periods. And lastly, but of course not least, is our multi-element revenue allocation package, which involves anything that has to do with bundles and revenue reallocation. So you can calculate and set up your revenue split contracts. And of course, that has to do with IFRS 15, AC 606, and recognizing multi-performance obligation contracts. So now we'll go into the meat and potatoes of this presentation, which is Don's live demo. We'll be doing a very exciting live demo in D365 BC. So Don, take it away. Thank you.
All right, so as we're looking at my particular role in Business Central, I am the Subscription Billing Suite Administrator. So your roles and authorities and rights might be a little bit different for each and every user. I've got all sources of all access, so that's what I'm going to start with. Cannot in 20 minutes show you every single possible version of the product, but I'm going to show you the most commonly used features and tie that all together for you. So obviously, if more information or more detailed approach is required, just come and see us and we'll do that. So here I've got my subscription billing suite. Advanced recurring contract billing, where I handle the monthly, the quarterly, the one-time, the usage-based, all that type of functionality. And its sister product, advanced revenue and expense deferrals. So when you hear me talking about automatically creating a deferral schedule, please understand that that's our advanced revenue and expense deferrals that make up the suite together. So let's start off with an actual contract. And just before I open it, if you look down the list, you'll see a lot of terms called batch. I'll be showing you mouse click by mouse click, but please understand most of these processes can be automated. Oftentimes users never have to even come into the product to go ahead and run invoices or to modify a contract, that type of thing. So here's a contract list. For anyone who's used to Business Central, this is a standard kind of a list for you. As I scroll down the list, pop down to the bottom here, and open up this particular contract. By the way, you'll notice it calls schedule contract, in all intents and purposes, the same thing. So it looks like a regular invoice, if you will, from Business Central. So up in the top, we have a lot of settings and functionality buttons that will apply to the contract as a whole. You'll notice some similar names on many of the options down here under schedule lines. They will apply to each line individually. So each line on a contract can act as a mini contract by itself, if you will, based on this customer here. And by default, these dates will fit in. So you can do things like make a contract a template, terminate it, put it on hold, adjust the price up, down, nest prices, price increase this year, a different one next year. All of that capability is there on each line or on the contract as a whole. Obviously, you can renew contracts, invoice from here. Stubbing is simply, most of our clients already have contracts. Then they decide they want to bring them into BC. They buy the product and they want to import everything, but they're a little worried about re-invoicing somebody. Stubbing says, hey, on this batch of import, it's all been invoiced up to, say, December 31st, 2021. So just invoice in 2022. So as you can see, there's a few little pieces of functionality up here, including the IFRS 15 automation to it. I will show you that in one of the contracts shortly. Getting down to the body, usual customers. These are not an outside subledger. These are the customers in Business Central. And the end users are also customers, but this would be perhaps us selling the software to you, you selling the software to somebody else. It's the somebody else we want to track, because if we're going to take care of them, we need to know who they are, even though they didn't directly buy the software from us. So you can perhaps see other applications of that. In the middle, we've got things like, what's my start date? What's my standard frequency? What's the number of periods? I've set it up for 3 years. It can be anything you like. And the frequency list, as you see it going from daily to annually, I'm going to tell you it's infinite from daily on. And the reason it is, you see monthly, up in the top right, you'll see an interval of 1. Together, that means every month. If I make that a 2, it means invoice me every 2 months. If I make it a 5, invoice me every 5 months, as odd as that might sound. Most common use, frequency is annual. People only bill every 3 or 5 years. Not a problem with the system. So everything from daily to infinity. And of course, the common things like I can auto renew this, I can partially prorate, I can align everything to the month. Normal things that you would expect in a top level contract management solution. Let's get down and look at the body. We've set up our defaults up here. You notice January 21 to December 25. Look at my first item. It's an annual support item. It is, if I scroll way over here, it's ending in 2028, not 2025. As I said, these are defaults. You can overwrite. Look at the bottom one. I've got the ability to change start dates. I've got January 1st, 2021 and November 1st, 2021. Whatever the line requires, if you feel it still should be on this contract, that's absolutely fine. That's up to you. Annually, monthly, could be weekly, could be daily items, one-time items. Maybe it's a package deal and there's also a piece of hardware involved. You don't want to re-invoice for that. That could be a one-time item, but now it's on the contract so you can track it. If I continue to scroll over, you'll notice that we have the ability to have an end user here, or I could leave this blank and have a different end user for every item on the contract, which is an interesting process there. We could also dictate whether the line item is going to be a sales order or a sales invoice. And we can also create quotes for the contract as a whole. So the salesperson might want to get it approved, come back, process it through to an order. Finally, it's an invoice, but it's on the contract already. And while I'm showing you that, I would like to explain, we can also create a contract from the order process in Business Central. So perhaps you create a quote, it becomes an order. At that point, you say, hey, this is going to go to an existing contract, or maybe it's going to go to a brand new contract. You can set that up. You can adjust the terms, the frequency, the end date, all right there in an actual sales order or a sales invoice in Business Central. And that then will create the contract upon posting, and then the continual re-invoicing on the monthly basis or annual basis will just continue to take place. So I want you to also notice when I scroll back, we've got different billing types. I've got standard and usage. If I click on here, you'll see I've also got Milestone. Milestone might be a package where I'm going to bill you after we install the software. I'm going to bill you after we configure a consultation time and get that done. You don't know exactly when that's going to be, but when you do, you would populate an end date over here. Now I could invoice for that line. Annual item. Typically, our clients want to go ahead and have a deferral schedule. If I click on, back up the top item here. If I click on Manage, Advanced Deferrals, this has already been activated and invoiced once. It went here on the balance sheet automatically, 0 user intervention required, and it will go here when it's recognized. This one happens to be a straight line. It's a 1 year. It could have been an event base. It could have been a 2-year deferral. It doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you. So you can have as many of these templates as you want and assign them to as many items as you want. You'll notice these are Business Central items, or it could be simply a comment that goes with that item that also would be sent to the invoice. Or it could be a resource that you want. Perhaps we have something like Sally Field works for us, or whatever the case might be. And away we go, putting her hours in to a contract as well. So there's a lot of different options that you can utilize when you're talking about items on a contract. Now, if I take a look at that first item, the annual support, I showed you the deferral schedule. I'll actually go to deferrals a little bit later just to keep you up to speed on exactly the possibilities you've got. But notice I've also got licenses here. It's a flat fee as well. By the way, in the pricing methods, you can have a standard price, which just takes it from Business Central. Flat price means salesperson's got control. Whatever the price they dictate, that's what the price is. And tier and flat tier, are extended pricing functionalities that we have that allow us to have different levels of pricing based on volume consumed by the customer. And we could show you that in more detail at another time. So I've got also this usage item. If I go back into the background of this item, whoops, sorry, wrong one. Let's go with this one right here. I'll go back and look at the details. This is a table, if you will, of every possible thing that can happen with this line item based on the terms of the contract. So it goes all the way up to 2024. If I go back to the top, you'll notice I have usage, which can be imported, of course, from an XML file or CSV file, or we have an API, as I mentioned earlier, that can be utilized as well. You notice I've got 145 hours used and I'm billing for 145. I've only got 5 hours used here, but I'm billing for 10. You can set a minimum or a maximum, or even a free quantity if you like on usage items, no problem whatsoever, and the calculation will automatically be done for you. Now, if I back out of here and I go into the line details, first item, you'll notice as well that this item was invoiced. It was an annual item. There it is. If I click on this little green number, what you're going to see here in a couple of minutes is an actual posted sales invoice from Business Central. The integration is full and complete. We are part of Business Central. So you can tell by the look of the windows, the functionality is connected all of the time. So if you were bringing this in from a CE, for example, or CRM, automatically update this, cut the invoices, that information can be pulled back to the CRM. So the salesperson never has to actually go in Business Central, but they can be constantly up to date on the standards and the details of any particularly given contract. If I back out of here altogether, a couple of more things to show you here. We can also bill to a different customer. So I could have a custom address in here saying, okay, Coho Winery in the top left there. That's my customer for the contract. I might have 10 other customers with 10 other contracts, but I'm the employer of all those people and I pay the bill. So I would pick myself if I was a customer, or if I'm not, I would put a custom address in and that's where the invoice would be sent to. So, and then you can report it that way. You can group these in any way you want and always have up-to-date information as to who's paying the bill, who's getting the invoice, who the end users are, right there in front of you, tracked right within Business Central itself. Now, I promised I would show you the IFRS 15 functionality. So let me go back up to the top here and go back and find my IFRS situation. Where did I put it? Multi-year. I just had it there a second ago because I made sure I knew where it was. So I would be able to handle that for you. So we've got this multi-element revenue allocation, basically IFRS 15 harmony is what that is. So you notice what I've got here is I've got a contract discount, just as a basic example of what can't go on the P&L with those standards. So how do I deal with this? Contract can look like this. The customer's invoice can look like this. What the salesperson sees can look like this. Even what the AR clerk who's entering the invoice, perhaps, it'll look like this. However, if I look at the revenue allocation, there's a little bit of a calculation that takes place that says, well, here's my annual, monthly, one time, here's my contract value, there's my discount. As we do some processing over here based on the standalone selling price of each line, I come back over here to the far right. I have no discount anymore. I've got these unusual numbers, which, by the way, will add up exactly to the contract amount. But that's what goes on the P&L. And now you've got an audit trail that's easy to follow and the correct amounts according to the standards going on the P&L. User involvement, 0. They just simply process the document and away they go. So how does it happen? Very quickly, if I back out of here altogether, let's go up and search SBS Mira. And what I'm looking for is the item standalone selling price table. When I open that up, it's going to be pretty obvious right away why the calculations can be done behind the scenes. What this table does for us is we have a standalone selling price according to the standards. We put them all in here. We take each item that we might have to worry about the IFRS 15 standards, put them in the list, the item number, cross over, put the standalone selling price. And if you are putting a fixed price, put the fixed price in and away you go. Close the table and you're good to go. There are a couple of other setup issues, but that will be done day one and you will be good to go. And you've got IFRS 15 handled in the background all the way through with no discrepancies, no inaccuracies, and a full audit trail. So we built some contracts. Wouldn't it be nice if we could actually invoice for them? So we'll go back here again and look at another piece of functionality, and it's called Schedule Invoice Creator. When I open up the Schedule Invoice Creator, what I'm going to get is a whole list of items. So when we're looking at this billing schedule right here, you'll see a tremendous amount of items. If I want to edit this list, because that's billing as of today, let's put it back to, did I type that wrong? December 31st, 2021. Let's try that. All right, there's still items to invoice. Okay, let's back it up once more. Now what you're going to see is an empty table. Why? Because the system has looked at every single contract that you've got set up, every single line item in that contract, checked as of December 31st, 2020, was any of it not invoiced? If the answer was yes, it would show up in the list. All you do then, once it's all here, is go either create the invoices, go ahead and post the invoices right away, or even post and email them to the customer if that is set up. There is no need to go to anywhere else in Business Central. The process is done directly from here. And it could be just invoices, just orders, or both at the same time. No restriction there whatsoever. And you notice the filters? I can consolidate by customer, by item on those customer consolidations, by bill to, by different end users. There's a number of ways of processing this. And of course, the never-ending filter capability, where to go? Wherever, if I just now, it's probably sitting looking at me, is it? There it is. The never-ending filter capability, which I've always found, I've been an accountant for a number of decades, and I've never ever in my life would I see anybody using all that. But the good news is, that means you can filter basically by anything you want to filter by. All right, so standard BC functionality, select what I want to invoice, go ahead and hit process, and I'm done. Very, very simple. Again, this can be scheduled. You do not have to come in here manually like I'm doing. This is just simply so you understand how that works. Reporting, we've got a series of built-in reports, everything from the standard recurring revenue report to total value, details, and so on and so forth. If I click on one of these reports, I'll say, well, 101-2021, and we'll go to last year. As we all know, that can go to a scheduler, to Excel, to Word or PDF. We're just going to peek at it. We're not going to filter any of the reports out. I want to see the whole thing. When this pops up, it's going to give me a single level of drill down. Now, we fully understand that there's a lot of outside reporting tools like a Solver or Jet Reports or many, many others that can give you much more detail, much more functionality. But we want to at least give you a very capable starting pack that gives most customers what they want. So there's my beginning MRR down to my ending MRR, including churn. And I could click on any one of these buttons and it would give me a PDF with line by line detail for that particular month, adding up to the totals that you see here. Very, very thorough reports from that perspective. However, built in, if I go down to the bottom of the page, we also have a series of Power BI reports that we pre-designed as well. So there's my monthly recurring revenue again, with the typical functionality that's incurred. I've got billing schedule detail, dollars and cents. And as a segue over into the deferral side of things, we have a deferral declining balance report, waterfall report, recognized revenue, unrecognized revenue, even cost of goods sold that BC is configured to track the cost of goods sold. So all those reports are available, and the pre-design doesn't stop you or the customer from having other unique reports designed, because the table structure will be available to you. And we can even help if that was necessary for the report design. Now, speaking of the deferrals, advanced revenue and expense deferrals are exactly what the name implies. I can create a deferral directly from a sales invoice. I can create a deferral from a purchase invoice, from a general journal transaction, from a contract, as we already showed. All these functionalities are available because, as I mentioned, even though it's part of the package, it is a standalone product and is very effective. Now, a quick note, we do not post deferrals to the future. We keep them in the table in SQL database underneath BC, and we allow you to report and post as needed. For example, if I open up deferral number 11, you'll notice that I've got where it went on the balance sheet, where it's going to go on the P&L, what billing schedule it came from, or what invoice or whatever it might have been, what the number was of the product, the customer, and away we go. and there's all my deferrals. You'll notice that I've already recognized some of them. If I click on any one of those journal numbers, there's my recognition process, and we've added the advanced deferral schedule ID so that if it did come from a deferral, you know exactly where it came from. The power of this, because we don't post to the future, is this in my mind. Actions and modify the schedule. And I can turn around and I can say, let's do this from a template. And let's make it a 1 year, 2 year, a 3 year, where I can turn this off and change my dates. So the deferral will be recalculated from the point of the last journal entry. These numbers will all be readjusted. Nothing's touched in the balance sheet. There's no credits have to be applied or any of that. It just readjusts the future periods that you recognize. No mess. Accountants, believe me, being one myself, love that. Nice and clean and no future periods open. So that is both the contract at a high level, the deferrals at a high level. We've talked about the reports for the deferrals at a high level. One of the more common things I get asked is there an audit trail? I'm back in, no, I don't want this one. If I take a look at my ARED functionality, I have a detailed audit trail of what's happened on every deferral schedule, who did it, when it was done, what the amount was, what accounts were affected, and so on and so forth. So again, just like the contract module, all the transactions are very easily traced for an auditor, require very little time of the folks in the finance department. And that, hopefully, and not too much more than 20 minutes, is a high-level overview of our subscription billing suite, advanced recurring contract billing, and advanced revenue expense deferrals. The mirror part that we talked about, the IFRS 15, is embedded within the contract module. So it's part and parcel when you buy the product. It's not a separate module by itself. Cal, we can send that back to you.
Thank you so much, John. That was a great presentation. I always learn a lot seeing your demos, and hopefully all our audience did as well. Let us talk about a couple of the next steps here. Like we mentioned at the top, you're very welcome to contact us directly. You can contact Sopra Steria through Christer here, the contact information mentioned here. We will also be including the slides in a follow-up. And you can access any of our materials over here. You can see the solution on AppSource, and of course, learn a lot more about it, see what customers say about it in the reviews section. You can visit our binary stream portal and request access to review any of our user guides, learn more about binary stream, and for support and ticket requests. On the company website, you'll find a wealth of knowledge, including product booklets, brochures, white papers, previous case studies that we've had across all the industries we've mentioned, and our e-learning video hub, where you can see even more in-depth material on subscription billing suite for Business Central. And of course, good old-fashioned email and telephone. You can give us a call or send us an email, and we'd be very happy to answer any questions for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you did find this presentation informative. And again, please feel free to contact us if you have any questions, or contact the Sopra Steria team. We're very happy to answer them. Thank you so much.
Så, vi hoppas att det här webbinariet gav er bra och nyttig information. Är ni intresserade av att läsa mer om lösningen så finns det mycket dokumentation online. Men vi kan även skicka ut en e-broschyr vid önskemål. Och om ni är intresserade av lösningen och ett eventuellt implementationsprojekt så går det bra att kontakta Christer Söderholm som är Business Owner för Business Applications på Sopra Steria. Och med de orden vill vi bara tacka för ert visade intresse och önska er en fin dag.
Stort tack!